Welcome to Mysteries and Crime. I'm your host, Melissa Thompson. If you would like, please click the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of our community. It was a warm day, October 16, 2021, in Western Australia. There was nothing remarkable about that day, except 4-year-old Cleo Smith, her mom Ellie Smith, her partner Jake Gliddon, and their infant daughter Isla arrived at the Blowholes Campground site to have a mini camping trip. They pitched their tent at a remote campsite on Western Australia's rugged coral coast. The Blowholes Campground is an isolated site 30 minutes off the Northwest Coastal Highway. It had only one road in and out of the campsite. Ellie Smith, Cleo's mom, said, quote, "We literally grew up probably like 100 meters from where our tent was. That was where we stayed at the same age," end quote. The family felt comfortable with their surroundings and had bought a new family tent that they were trying out for the first time on this trip. The tent had a divider separating Ellie and Jake on one side with their blow-up mattress. Cleo was on the other side of the divider on a blow-up mattress where she would be tucked into a gray and red sleeping bag, and her baby sister Isla would be tucked into a cot. The family had arrived at the Blowholes between 6:30 and 7 p.m. before it had got dark. They pitched their tent. They got everything ready for the girls. Ellie and Jake made the girls dinner. Then they put Cleo in a pink and purple floral one-piece sleeper, and she was put into bed around 8 p.m. that Friday night. Next, they put Isla to bed. Then the adults ate and they went to bed for the night. Cleo awoke at 1:30 a.m. Saturday, October 17, 2021, wanting a drink of water. Ellie got up and gave her the water. Cleo then returned to her bed to go back to sleep. That would be the last time her mother would see her. The family's happy camping trip was about to become a nightmare. Ellie and Jake awoke at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning to baby Isla wanting a bottle. When walking past the divider of their tent, Ellie noticed that the tent zipper was open almost all the way. She knew that there was no way Cleo could have opened that zipper because it was out of a child's reach. She went to check on her daughters and noticed that Cleo was not on her mattress. Cleo and her sleeping bag were gone. Ellie informs her partner Jake, and they begin to search for Cleo. They get in their car and start driving around looking for Cleo to no avail. By mid-morning, Saturday, October 17, 2021, police arrive. A full-scale search is launched involving SES, aircraft, drones, and sea vessels. That night, the search is suspended when it becomes dark, but efforts continue with the Australian Maritime Safety Authority's search and rescue jet doing nighttime patrols with heat-detecting surveillance equipment. Sunday, October 18, 2021, morning, land search resumes with SES volunteers, volunteer search and rescue, and fisheries officers scouring the coastline. Australia's Army's Pilbara Regiment is also requested to help. On Sunday, October 18, 2021, at 1:30 p.m., Inspector John Monday says police are, quote, gravely concerned for Cleo's safety and reveals officers won't rule out an abduction. He also confirms detectives from Perth are involved in the investigation. On Monday, October 19, 2021, in the morning, the Marine search for Cleo is scaled back as investigators focus their attention on land and roads. By 1:30 p.m., police release an image of the red and gray sleeping bag missing from Cleo's tent. That afternoon, Cleo's biological father, Daniel Staines, spent almost 3 hours at Mandurah Police Station, willingly being interviewed about his missing daughter. There is no suggestion he is linked to the case. On Tuesday, October 20th, 2021 in the morning, heavy rainfall and wind gusts of up to 75 kilometers at the Blowholes put the search for Cleo on hold. The search resumes a few hours later as WA police issue a national appeal for information on the missing girl's whereabouts. That afternoon, Cleo's mom, Ellie Smith, and her partner, Jake Gliddon, give an interview discussing the moment they found out Cleo was missing. This was the first time they had spoke publicly since posting on social media about Cleo's disappearance. Ellie Smith said Cleo would never wander off and would have asked for help to unzip her one-piece sleeping suit if she needed to use the toilet, Smith said, saying, quote, "She's lazy when it comes to walking. She would never leave the tent alone. I checked on Isla, made sure Isla was okay. I got back in bed, and that was it, really. We went back to sleep. I later woke up to Isla wanting a bottle. As we passed the divider, I went into the other room, and the zipper was open. Cleo was gone, and that was about it for Saturday morning until everything started. She was gone. The tent was completely open. It was about 30 centimeters from being open. I turned to Jake and said, 'Cleo's gone.' We went looking, checking, making sure she wasn't around the tent. Then we got in the car and started driving around everywhere. Then we realized we have to call the cops because she's not here. Where is she? She needs breakfast. What is she doing? Everything was going through my head. We haven't slept. We have had so much family help us and support us. Everyone asks us, 'What do you need?' And really, all we need is our little girl home. I have no idea what happened to Cleo, but wished I did. There's probably a million things that I've thought of. They're searching every angle that we probably have thought of. The worst part is we can't do anything more. It's out of our hands, so we feel hopeless and out of control. We sit and watch the sand dunes and think she's going to run down it and back into our arms, but we're still waiting. Cleo is beautiful, delicate, and funny, with the biggest heart. She loves makeup and collecting rocks. Every day she wants to wear a princess dress. She's so sweet. She's everything that you'd want in a little girl." End quote. Although Cleo was terrified of the ocean, Smith said, the family had brought Cleo's bike so she could learn to ride without training wheels. Ellie said, quote, "Cleo was born 8 weeks early. She was premature, and she's been strong from the day she was born. So I know she can get through whatever she's going through." End quote. Wednesday, October 21st, 2021, in the morning, police say they haven't ruled out reports from campers who heard the sound of screeching tires in the early hours of Saturday morning at 9:50 a.m. Deputy Police Commissioner Daryl Gaunt confirms officers are inquiring about the whereabouts of the almost 20 SO offenders living in the Carnarvon area as part of the investigation into Cleo's disappearance. Inspector John Monday said Cleo could be anywhere now, given the days that have passed since she was last seen, saying, quote, "We can't rule out the fact that Cleo may be still in the area. We can't rule out the fact that she's left the area, and if she's left the area, that is probably our worst case scenario, because that really paints a sinister picture of what's happened." End quote. It's a race against time. We're just trying to find answers. The entire area where Cleo vanished has been declared a potential crime scene, with the campsite closed and investigators imploring anyone who has been in the area to come forward. Monday said this case was a mystery we're trying to unravel. As he revealed, quite a lot of people have been staying at the Blowholes Campground that night. Monday said, quote, "We're tracking and tracing all of those people at the moment, but there's also nothing to indicate that there's any cause for the wider community to be alarmed." End quote. Police have also been searching a number of what they call shacks. A longtime along the coast near the campsite, which are occupied by long-term residents. So basically little cottages on the beach, saying, quote, "You'd have to have a reason to be there," end quote. A police source told Perth Now, quote, "It's a destination, not a place you just pass through to go somewhere else. It's not like a little town where you'd stop for a pie and patrol and then keep going," end quote. A GoFundMe page has been set up by a local man, Bill Kent, to help Cleo's family and the search efforts, so far raising more than $48,000. I will link the GoFundMe down in the description below. 6 days after Cleo disappeared, police now say she was likely snatched from the tent where she was sleeping next to her baby sister. There is a Australian amount of $1 million or 750,000 USA dollars reward for any leads to what might have happened. The reward will be offered for information on that leads to Cleo Smith being found or to an arrest or conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. This reward a big reward like this has only been done a handful of times in Western Australia's history. That's how important this case is to them and finding information about what happened to Cleo. Police say they do not at the moment suspect Cleo's parents. Superintendent Ron Wild said, quote, "We are hopeful that we will find Cleo alive, but we hold grave fears for her safety. Someone in the community knows what happened to Cleo. Someone has the knowledge that can help. And now there is a million reasons why you need to come forward." End quote. WA police are searching for a driver and people who may have been in a vehicle seen leaving the campsite where Cleo Smith disappeared. Remember the screeching tires that the other campers heard. A vehicle was seen leaving the campsite about 3 a.m. on October 16th. It's believed to have turned off Blowholes Road towards Carnarvon. Police want to speak to the driver and anyone in the vehicle. Detective Superintendent Ron Wild said, "Some witnesses have come forward with new information," saying, quote, "We want to speak to the driver and persons, if there were more than one person in that vehicle, to establish exactly what was going on and what they were doing. We don't know those details. What we can say, it's a passenger vehicle, so I don't want to narrow it down by giving descriptions, but I imagine at the time of night, obviously it's very dark out there. Anyone who was camping within the vicinity of the blowholes over that weekend of the 15th and 16th, if they can make themselves known to police by calling Crime Stoppers and giving that information, there's still people out there that we want to catch up with and speak to," end quote. Police were also investigating the possibility that someone might have been scoping the house out and the family in the days and weeks prior to Cleo's disappearance. Though Detective Superintendent Wild said, quote, "There's no evidence, there's no information that Cleo was stalked at all. A search for fingerprints and other evidence on the outside of the home was a part of standard investigations of this nature," end quote. So this is a very terrifying case, you guys. To imagine being in the same tent as your children and your little 4-year-old goes missing and her sleeping bag goes missing as well with her. There is pictures of the sleeping bag as well as the little sleeper that she was wearing. They have the exact one. I have put pictures of that throughout this video to help find little Cleo. I am hoping that this little girl is out there and still alive. We know that in the beginning of missing children's cases, the first few days are very crucial. We have reached over a week now, and we have to put the word out there that anyone who has seen anything at the Blowholes Campground, please, please come forward. You might not realize what you know could be so important to this investigation and bringing little Cleo home to her parents. I watched her mom and her partner, Jake, at the press conference. Her mother seemed very, very upset. She spoke of Cleo in the present tense. It doesn't appear to me that they have had anything involved in this situation. They have also ruled out the fact that an animal could have come into the tent because they would have seen that the animal would have tore apart the tent, not unzipped it. And there were multiple ways in and out of this tent. So that's really scary. And to think that the other campers heard a car screeching away. Now, other campers have come forward and said that they did not see 4-year-old little Cleo on the campground during that evening that they had arrived. However, authorities have come forward saying that they do have evidence that Cleo was at the campground. They did say there was surveillance footage of her, I believe, at a little store. I think they have a few different angles of security video to definitely confirm that she was at the campground. I think that might be just campers speculating that it was the mom and her boyfriend. Right now, I don't see anything in them that is indicating to me that they had anything to do with it. I do believe this is a stranger abduction. And I think what's important is we need to look at all the vehicles that were in that vicinity. There is a roadhouse, it's called, and that has surveillance footage, which has believed to take footage of any vehicle that passes through that. So I'm hoping that they are able to grab license plates and get the information they need of who was driving. But if you were at the Blowholes, you need to contact Crime Stoppers right away because this little girl needs to be brought home. She needs her mommy. She needs her step dad and her sister and her bio dad and the other family members that are missing this sweet, precious little girl. I mean, looking at her picture, she's such a little angel, so precious. I just don't understand how this happened, that somebody can come into your tent and take your little girl. Now, I did hear something from someone online saying when they used to go camping as a child, her mother would put safety pins through the zippers, and she had always wondered why she did that from the inside, and that was to keep somebody from coming in to get them, and how smart that was. I wish there was more safety protocols for tents to stop incidents like this happening. This case is gaining a lot of attention because we have a missing 4-year-old little girl, and there could be a kidnapper out there who showed up at this campground and took this little girl. It is warm weather now in Australia. They are ready for their summer, as in the United States, we are in autumn. So it's a beautiful time of year for them to be out camping. This was just a little family vacation to try and enjoy, and it turned into an absolute nightmare. And it's lucky that whoever came in didn't take both little girls. And it's bad enough that they took one. I don't know why did they muffle Cleo where she could not scream and her mother and Jake couldn't hear her. I mean, this is absolutely insane to think about. But the little cottages, or what they call shacks, all of these people could be witnesses and have seen just the smallest little thing, and they need to come forward. I am going to be linking the GoFundMe page because, expenses add up in searches. It gets very expensive daily, and this family could use some help. So if you are able to, please donate to that GoFundMe page. I will be giving a donation as well because we need to bring this little girl home. I am so sad to hear of all these cases involving children. It is just an absolute nightmare to think that your child was taken and you were right there. You were right next to them. How scary and terrifying is that? So we all need to, around the world, we need to keep Cleo's face out there. We need to keep her name out there. Spread her pictures. This is a tragedy, and they are investigating this with tons of resources. They have closed off roadways and been searching using all kinds of equipment, and they have not had any luck locating. So yesterday, they were at Cleo's mom's house and her partner. They were searching. There are plenty of officers that do believe somebody was stalking the house and family and may have seen Cleo prior to her disappearance. And that's quite possible. The child ones, tend to seek out their children prior to the disappearance. So I thank you for listening to Cleo's story. I hope all of you are well. Take a little time out for some self-care and love. I wish you all a beautiful week, and I will talk to you all very soon. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.